Hello everyone. So this is my final project for my summer course at college. It is about 4,000 disposable straws. Thank you for what? No. So this is my typography assignment. I'm going to be using a cry cut in the morning to cut out 2 sheets of paper to overlay, saying the text "consume" in a huge bold sans serif font, to basically show, how many straws we go through in daily life, especially big corporations. So if we think about it, so there's about 4,000 straws here. If you use 1 straw a day, that's about 11 years worth of straws right in front of you. In a family of 4, all of them use a straw. Divided by 4, that's almost it's almost 3 years. So, realistically, the single person is not going to be going through this many in such a short amount of time. But if we assume that, a McDonald's has 1,000 customers a day, so maybe a very popular one, they would be going through this every 4 days. But that's not really the idea here. So the inspiration for this project was a bit of ocean art that I saw. It was made out of trash taken out of the ocean and arranged to look like a sea turtle. It was wrapped in fishing nets and made out of things like washed up disposable spoons. I couldn't make out many of the objects on it, but they were really just things that we do go through in everyday life, but especially fishermen. For what it's worth, I realise that the biggest ocean pollutant, one of the biggest at least, are fishing nets, and that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not arranging 4,000 fishing nets into this, but whenever we see a disposable straw, I do think that all of us think of sort of, is this going to end up in the ocean? And the fact is that sometimes it will, and that's quite scary. So in that sense, this is kind of a bit of contemporary art, a descriptor of the modern age. But I'm not that kind of guy, really. I'm not one of those who are, stopping people on the highways saying, like, "Have you thrown a disposable straw into the ocean?" No, that's not me. I'm not the guy who's fixing this issue. But I thought it was quite striking to think about. While making this, I had another idea. Do a similar thing with cigarettes, because it's perfectly understandable how somebody could go through 4,000 cigarettes. And 1 cigarette may not be harmful, 2 cigarettes might not be harmful. But if you stack them 4,000 and realise that this is what you've been consuming for the past 5-10 years, it kind of does add up, doesn't it? And the idea behind that one was maybe I could set up like a vacuum pump to smoke the cigarette so that the filter tip goes all brown, and it would be like, I don't know what it'd say. It could say just something very descriptive, like a cancer or something to that effect. For what it's worth, I'm not very good at this. I chose this because I thought it'd be easy. It was not arranging 4,000 straws in a perfect hexagonal grid. Sorry for the trypophobia people, by the way. Perfect hexagonal grid. It was not easy. It was a lot of time, a lot of hours. About 15 plus. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? I genuinely love this. This is something that I'm going to keep. I know that most people won't get it, because it is just a bunch of straws, you know. People are going to probably think like, oh, look at this lefty doing this piece of art, but no, I genuinely love how it looks, even just from an aesthetic standpoint, not a communication standpoint. And yeah, so I'm recording this video right now to see sort of where I've screwed up. I've been using 2 sets of tweezers. Where are my other ones? Oops, don't stab the water bottle. You make it leak everywhere and ruin your nice table. Been using these inverted tweezers. So these have the perfect grip pressure for pushing the straws into place and placing them, but pulling them is where you have the issue. And if I return it to its original position, for what it's worth, they're very sturdy. You know, I'm jiggling it. Doesn't get affected by wind anymore. For what it's worth, if I breathed too heavily, it would push them out or push them away, you know. Yeah, so I actually had to control my breathing while making this. And really, I was sat here in this very uncomfortable chair from the 1940s, which I really need to get reupholstered. Yeah, so it was a lot of work. And yeah, so when it came to the inspiration as well, so I was looking at the ocean art, and it was while I was fixing up my old bike. So I have a bike from 1981 at the minute, which I am absolutely in love with. I'm trying to work on a video for it, but honestly, I think a lot of the footage I've shot is useless. But this old bike I've got is absolutely beautiful. It's gold, black, and gold, black, and red. And you know, I saved it from the trash. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to avoid making waste. And you know, but I was putting the chain on, and I realised like this is a heavy ass chain, like over 1 meter long, and you know, it really is just going into the trash. I have no use for it. I could repurpose it into a what's it called? What do they call it? Oh, into a free hub tool and whatever, but that would only use like 1/4 of it, if that. I was making trash even while trying to avoid it. So like, while you can cut out disposable straws, for what it's worth, I'm not. I use disposable straws because they're satisfying to use. I don't like the idea of going to a restaurant and you know, drinking from someone else's cup. Essentially, it's kind of disgusting. But in that same breath, even when I'm trying to avoid it, and you know, I don't use straws. I use maybe 1 a week. And I could use reusable ones, but they're a pain in the ass. But even when I'm trying to avoid making waste, like explicitly, I can't do it. You know, whenever I bought this chain, it comes in a nice cardboard box, which I have to throw away. It comes in a nice plastic bag, sealed, so that all of the oil for the chain is kept. That has to go in the bin, and it's covered in oil, so it's harder to recycle. Probably has to get burnt, in fact. Come on. So, even when you try to avoid it, you are consuming a product, and I think that says a lot to the current state. But again, I'm not a friggin', I don't want to say lefty. That's the wrong word, because politics isn't what I'm about. But I sound like a proper nutter, don't I? But I'm not. I'm just an average guy with an interest in old shit. You know, I like old stuff. This jar is 100 years old, and I'm using it for the cut-offs, which are tiny straws taped together with a bit of hot glue. Which, you know, the irony in all this is not lost in me. By the way, look at that. You know, the irony is not lost on me. But life is ironic, you know. And even then, I'm trying to avoid waste. I'm still making some anyway. I had the idea in mind that I wasn't going to make any waste. Yeah, here I am cutting off the bendy bits off of disposable straws. They're going to have to be thrown out. I've got no use for them. I did have an idea. So this vase, which I'm yet to get red roses for, is full of those. Fucking hell. It's full of those bendy bits. My room's a mess at the minute, by the way. I had an idea. I'm going to sprinkle them over the top. I'm going to sprinkle them out front, and it's going to say consume. Don't know if I'm going to do that yet. Nobody's going to watch this video anyway. But yeah, so I'm just in love with how this looks. I genuinely think it's beautiful. When my assignment's done, I'm genuinely going to frame this above my bed. Well, it's already framed. The frame, by the way, is from Goodwill. It was $5. It should have been 10. You know how Goodwill has that stupid colour system for offers? Yeah, this was purple and the current colours were like green and yellow. So it wasn't on offer, but I still got it for $10. I don't know how. I didn't correct them. Why would I do that? And yeah, so if you look at the surface, it's very uneven. I'm trying to even it out a bit with my finger, but I really like how natural it looks. It does have a flow to it, almost like the ocean. Aha, there's another reference. Aha. No, that wasn't the idea. It's because I flattened them all, or at least most of them, and it was so plainer that you saw every single mistake. And I think about that a lot. Perfection is nothing you should strive for. You know, if you've got a nice car, you spend your entire life parking further away from the shop to make sure that nobody parks next to it in case they scratch it. You get a nice bike and you don't want to ride it because you don't want to get it dirty. You get nice tools, but you don't want to wrench on it because you don't want to mar them up or get them dirty. And it's like, but you bought the nice tools because they are nice and because you can wrench on them. You got the nice car because you can take it anywhere. And I made this nice thing, and if I make it perfect, I will see every single mistake. And for what it's worth, I know that's very hypocritical. I'm fixing mistakes, but they're not mistakes. I'm just trying to make it look even, make it have a nice flow to it, you know? I think it has a nice flow to it. Almost has letters on it already. S E L C S E C Y Seki? Sexy? Ooh. No. Sec N M Sec M Y X I E. What the fuck that is? B or treble clef? Don't know. Not treble clef, bass clef. Freaking hell. Yeah, I'm absolutely in love with how this looks. And I know I'm talking about it so much, but I've invested so much goddamn time. I need to get it off my chest, and I need people to see it, even if they only see 6 seconds of this video. Or 1, or 0, I don't care if no one sees it. But I'm just absolutely in love. People have probably done this idea before. Yeah? But isn't it just beautiful? I love how it looks. If you get further away, you can see through more of it. Look at that. Actually see through it. Let's see if we can get the jar. Oh, there's my drink. Yeah, you can see the jar. Get further away, you can see more of it. I just think it looks stunning. I'm genuinely proud of this. I've never made anything with my hands before. Because I'm not a maker. I don't make stuff. I make 3D models, but you know, I do them for the purpose of bigger projects. They are pieces of a puzzle, and I've never made something with the intent of it being beautiful, and I'm so proud of this. You know, like, I want to do it again in a way, as masochistic as it sounds, like, what's it called? Like some kind of different idea. I could do it out of, again, cigarettes. I could do it out of metal rods. And out of metal rods, I could have it as like, you know, robots. I could have like CRT TVs lined up, like the old cabinet style ones, and have it say like reality, or like reality check, or virtual reality, or that kind of thing. That was the original idea. I didn't actually put it in my assignment document because I thought it was stupid, but I want to do it for myself, you know. I like the idea that, you know, people do this stuff for fun. I'd never do this again for what it's worth. This project's dead to me. In a weird way, as much as I want to do it again, I also never want to touch straws again. Which in a way it works. Maybe this could be a punishment technique for people who litter. By the way, if you litter, you're a fucking scumbag. Stand by that. I don't litter. Like, I do use straws. Well, I'm probably never going to use a fucking straw anymore. Like, look at this, it's a freaking nightmare. And by the way, yeah, this really was a nightmare to make. I was sat here until 5:30 one morning, and I thought, if I don't stop and I see that sunlight, I'm going to jump off a bridge. And I live in Colorado, so there's no bridges, but if I find one, I'll let you know. Or you won't know. Aha, there you go. Please don't report me. Oh, come on, go in. Long pause. Anyway, I should probably wrap up this video. I fucking love how it looks. Like, genuinely, I am in love. Like, I want it displayed like this, but unfortunately I've got to finish it for an assignment. And that kind of kills me on the inside. Because I don't want to do that. I want to have like this weird flow to it. Like, look, there's a bow to it at the bottom. I need to fix that, actually. Like, fucking hell, I just love it. I'm not going to revert it once I've finished it. You know, it's a one-way street in my eyes. If I fucked up once making this, I would have thrown it in the bin, and I would have cried, and I would have left college and accepted it, because it would have killed me on the inside. I'm not a patient person. I'm making this very therapeutic. Like, I know I say I've got no patience, but it's different when you're making something versus fixing something. If you fix something, you're broke. Your patience with yourself just fucking plummets, doesn't it? Everyone knows what I mean. Because it's like you've hurt an aspect of you. So I was going to wrap this video up. But yeah, like, making something and it not fucking up is so rewarding. But also, well, you know what, I did fuck up a few times. I wear plaid shirts most of the time. I'm wearing a short sleeve right now. I'm so skinny. I'm white. I'm so white you could use me as a friggin' reference. God, I just love it. Anyway, yeah, so I was wearing a plaid shirt, and I reached through. It's about halfway up, and I reached through, and the sleeve caught the top, and it knocked a good about 30 off. And it took a few minutes to fix, for what it's worth. This is what I hate: diagonal sharp edges. Because you notice the diagonals a lot because they're in closer proximity than the neighbouring ones. But man, I'm so proud. Like, no one cares. Like, and I know no one cares. And if anyone sees this, they won't hear me rambling on how chuffed I am with myself. But it's not often that you get that feeling like, wow, I made that. And people are going to look at it and be like, wow, you made that. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I made that. How long did it take? 15 hours. and then it won't talk to me because I'll go ranting on about fucking straws.